Hi, my name is Anna Player Murray, and today I'm going to be talking about and demonstrating a few exercises for posture, respiration, onsets, phonation, and resonance. So first of all, we're going to start off with posture. As a singer, posture is very important. If you don't have good posture, then you probably won't have correct breathing, and if you don't have good breathing, then everything just snowballs, and it's just snowball effect doesn't go well. So for posture as a singer, you want to make sure that your sternum is up straight, your shoulders are up straight, so you're confidently standing, but still relaxed at the same time. You don't want to be too tense or anything, but you obviously don't want to slouch. So you want to feel that good, nice, confident stance, standing up straight. You want your chin to be a little slightly lifted, but obviously not like this. You just don't want it pointed down. So slightly lifted, but at a comfortable position. And you want to make sure that your feet are shoulder width apart. And starting off with this, a few exercises I like to do that help with posture are just getting a few good stretches in. So we're gonna stand up and first start off with, sorry, let me move that. So you're gonna reach your arms out as if you're gonna grab a really heavy weight and just squeeze and then release. So do that one more time. Squeeze, really feel that stretch and release. And then you're gonna do the same thing, but putting them out like this. Squeeze and release. And this helps a lot with just getting your body, waking it up a little bit, getting it a little motivated in case you haven't really done a whole lot of walking today. Sometimes you might have choir rehearsal in the morning, which is never great, obviously, but so it just helps wake your body up, and it helps with a good stretch with your arms and helps release tension. Another exercise I like to do is, let me think. I'm gonna use, just rolling your shoulders. Sorry. So rolling your shoulders, just going forward and then rolling them backwards. And this, you can really feel the expansion in your chest, and it helps with your breathing a little bit. You can just feel your rib cage. You can feel your rib cage expanding and your diaphragm lowering. Alrighty. Okay, and then another thing I like to do for posture is find a chair, preferably one that has a 90-degree angle back, but this one doesn't, but it's the best I could do. It's the only chair I have. So you're gonna sit down and sit on the edge of your seat, so you don't want your back touching the back of the chair. And like I said earlier, you want your feet shoulder width apart and your chin slightly lifted, just a little bit, but comfortably. And we're just gonna breathe in. We're gonna take a nice deep breath and feel that rib cage expanding. Don't breathe and lift your shoulders up like you're trying to catch your breath. And make sure your feet are planted on the floor. So we're gonna take a nice deep breath. And if you wanna take your hand and place it on your stomach or your back, you can feel that rib cage expanding. So this is nice to do just because when you're in choir, you are sitting most of the time. So you want to make sure that you're always sitting in a good position, even though you're thinking, I'm sitting down. I don't really have to be as engaged in my body when I'm singing, but it's really important that you are. You never want to be in choir, resting your back on the end of the chair like you would if you were just hanging out at home, and you don't want to have your legs crossed like this, because it just doesn't align your body right, and you will have a better sound if you are sitting up correctly. Okay, so now we're going to talk about respiration, and we're going to be using the chair again for this. And so respiration obviously is the act of breathing. And so one that I like to do for this is sitting again on the edge of your chair. And you're gonna go down to about a 45-degree angle and take your hands and place them on your thighs right above your knees, like this. And it might help if you turn them in. It doesn't really matter, but if you want to. And you're gonna take a good deep breath. And then make sure also that your head you're not holding up your head. Just let your head fall down, kind of like this. You don't have to hold it up. So by doing this exercise, it really helps you get a nice, deep, great breath for when you have to sing. Obviously, you cannot bend over in the middle of a song or in the middle of choir and just, oh, I need a good breath, and go up and sing. I wish we could, because personally, whenever I need to really focus on my breathing and make sure that I'm getting a good breath, sometimes it helps for me to lean over like this and take a nice deep breath, because it really stretches your back and you can really feel your, again, rib cage expanding. I know I've said this a lot, but it's important that you understand the feeling of it so that you can take it from this feeling and then place it into standing up so that you don't have to lean over to get a good breath. So yes, just doing that little exercise, leaning over 45 degrees, and getting a nice good breath in there. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about onsets. So the vocal onset is really just the immediate sound you make whenever you're talking or singing. And it's really important in singing that you have a good vocal onset. So you can have an aspirated vocal onset, which is something really breathy. You don't really want that unless you're doing some breathy piece, but usually you won't be. So that could sound something like, that's not typically the kind of sound that you want to make. And then there's also a glottal onset, which is a really hard punching onset. And it sounds a little bit like, and you're really just punching into the sound. And that's also pretty aggressive. Usually we don't typically want to start off any phrases like that. So for vocal onsets, you want a nice even middle between aspirated breathy and a harsh glottal. And an exercise I like to do for this is just a little vocal, just singing on ah, and you go, the pattern of it is 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it'll sound like ah, 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 ah. And so you just want to get a nice, good breath. Ah, 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 ah. And you can continue to move up the scale. So ah, 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 ah. Ah, 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 ah. Ah, 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 ah. And this really helps with your onsets, making sure that you're having nice breath support coming through the vocal cords. You have that nice vibrato working in there for you. And I forgot to say this, but obviously the first 4 notes are staccato, and then the last 5 are legato, or disconnected. Okay, so that's one exercise you can do for onsets. And we will now move on to phonation. So something I like to do for phonation, just to kind of wake up my voice, make sure that all of the different resonance points, it registers from my chest all the way to my middle into my head voice are all working, they're all connected. So just sighing on an ah, and you don't want it to be a full, well, okay, so we can do the first one, which is just a sigh. So So doing these exercises, they're not aggressive, they're just light, it's like a sigh, just on a pitch. And then you can move a little bit more into slides. So you can do, and this just helps with waking up the voice, making sure that you're having good phonation, and it's a nice, good stretch. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to be talking about resonance. So resonance is making sure that everything is resonating in the correct place whenever you're singing, and so your placement for this is very important. You want to make sure that your sound is coming out. The way that I feel it is kind of coming out right up here, as if you had, you know, a pair of sunglasses on, or if you had a sheet of paper. I'm trying to think. If you had I'm trying to think of a good way to explain this. A mask on, and then you just had a strip right here. You want to feel the sound coming out up here. And so a good way to do this is when you're about to breathe, smell it. The feeling of, a good way to try to practice this is breathing as if you're smelling a rose or smelling something pleasant. So you're gonna, and you get that nice breath in. You kind of lift up your face a little bit. There's a little bit of a smile to it, not something aggressive like, but a little bit of a smile, you know, that feeling when you smell something really nice. That smells so nice. So that feeling of placing it upwards. And for resonance, it's really important that you do not have your sound stuck in the back of your throat. A lot of times what this feels like if your tongue is all the way in the back of your throat, and it could sound a little bit like, that was really deep. Versus that. So it's a really stuck back in the throat sound, and you can really notice this if you were if it's modifying your vowels. So instead of singing it might sound like if it's too far back in your throat and it's not placed correctly. So a good exercise for making sure that you have good resonance is and just making sure the jaw is loose, and this is kind of a and doing this, you want to make sure that your tongue is touching the bottom of your teeth, like so, but not pushed up like I just did. Not like that, but pushed down. And again, with doing these exercises, you want to make sure that you have a loose jaw, and make sure really that you sorry, got a notification. One thing that I like to think about when I'm trying to think of good resonance is that I've struggled with a little bit. When I came to college, I didn't have the best resonance sometimes. So a lot of times I would start off my pitches, or I'd sing phrases by yanking my jaw down and singing and something that helps me is really thinking about, instead of yanking down your jaw, because you don't want to do that, thinking about lifting your cheeks a little bit and feeling the sound as if you want it to come out of the middle of your eyes. You want the sound to come out here. So, and you want to make sure your mouth isn't too widely spread, but it's nice and vertical. And you get that nice tone coming out. Alrighty, and that is the end of my video. Thank you so much.